and it's when we did the show from, XFM did some stuff from Edinburgh.
Yeah. You were sat in your hotel room?
Sat in the room, waiting to sort of go out and get some food and that. Sat there.
Why were you waiting to go out and get some food?
Because we were all going to meet up. We're going to meet up with, with Simon.
So you thought, I'm not going to switch the TV on, I'm not going to read a magazine.
The telly was on, nothing was on, I wasn't impressed with anything that was on, so I'm looking around the room. I had a couple of the free shortbreads.
I love the fact he remembers. Yeah. He remembers a specific biscuit he had.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
I had a couple of them, and then looked around. There was a Bible, and I thought, well, I know about that.
Yeah.
There's nothing in that I don't know. So, got the phone book up, and I immediately thought, there's a lot of Mac this and Mac that in Scotland. Macintosh.
Mac Daddies.
Macateer.
Yeah.
There's loads of names. So I thought, I wonder how popular it is.
Just how popular it is.
42 pages of Macs.
Did you count how many pages there were?
Yeah.
Did you just work out from the numbers on the bottom of the page, or did you literally
I counted.
Right.
And
how many do you reckon are on a page? There's a lot in there. If someone could tell you approximately how many names they get on one page.
How long did it take you, this whole procedure?
What, the counting?
Yeah.
Not that long.
It's
just
just
42 pages.
Yeah.
It's not that much.
They're all together,
and what did you
luckily.
do once you digested that information? What did you do with that information? Did you tell people?
I mean, look, how long ago was the Edinburgh Festival?
I stored it along with the biscuit. I love to get in his head. I imagine it's a big warehouse, and there's lots of partitions for weird stuff like kids born with tentacles and things like that.
I imagine there's like quite an old caretaker, and you go in there. You say, "I'm looking for that." He goes, "Hang on, I know where that. I put that somewhere. Hang on a minute.
Is this the one when they shave the cat? No, it's not shaving the cat. This is the Max. The Max. I know Scotland, the shortbread. Well, don't give me the shortbread because that's putting me off. But
the what's her name though? Do you remember last week I was talking about the airy kid? And
I think that's every week, Carl. That doesn't narrow it down.
All right. Well, we were talking about that airy kid in the woods, and did a bit more research this week.
Okay.
Found a good story out about a monkey.
Right.
Which I'll told Ricky a little bit about it.
Tell me, come on, tell it now.
No,
I reckon we should keep this.
It sounds exciting stuff.
That's got 'em, right? So we'll be doing that. we've
got the audience.
We've got Rockbusters again this week.
Yeah.
We've got Do We Need 'Em?
Yeah. What are you trying to get rid of this week?
Cockroaches.
Right.
Good one. I can't think of a reason to keep them.
Looking into that. Well, I'll sort the matter out. That's coming up.
Excellent.
We've got I'm teaching you some more stuff.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
He phoned me up today. Yesterday it was. He's been researching, like, educating Ricky. He said, what do you want to know about? I don't know. He said, you interested in space? And I went, yeah. He phoned me 3 hours later. He went, no, nothing about space. I went, what? He said, I couldn't find anything interesting. I said, you couldn't find anything interesting about space.
Yeah.
It's big.
It's pretty interesting, Carl.
It's big, but there's nothing there. That's It's like the Millennium Dome. So what I'm looking at, right?
But no, wait. He said, is there anything else you want to know about? I went, alright, I went, anthropology. He went, what's that? I went, study a man. I sent a man. He went, like what? I went, like, our roots from caveman through and all that. He went, I said, Australopithecus, Neanderthal. And he went, well, you know all that then? I went, no. He went, right. He went, don't you want to know how a lung works or something? How a lung works. And I said, well, tell me how a fridge works. He went, oh, I said, it's just the gas, isn't it? I went, brilliant. I went, tell me how a microwave works. He went, I know. I said, fella walking past in a laboratory with a bar of chocolate in his pocket, went past some sort of ray thing, it melted it, and he went, hold on. That's it. That's explained to me how a microwave works. Right.
So today, we're doing, sort of medical-ish type things, under the banner of, colon then, educate me.
Oh, God.
Do it again?
Colon then, educate me.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
So that's like, go on then. So, colon.
Brilliant.
So that's a little heading. You're going to be learning 3 things, sort of medical-ish, before 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, do you want to,
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh.
You're going to love this one, Steve,
Go
right? So last week, we were talking about how, like, a lad left his family because there was problems at home and that. He went and lived in the wood. He got airy. Right?
No.
Leave it there, Rick. We haven't got time to go into it.
So
that's what happened.
And that's what happened. He lived with the monkeys. He went airy.
That's what happened. That's what happened.
Looked into some other stuff about like airy kids and all that.
Yeah.
Came across this story about a bloke, right, who worked in a zoo.
Oh dear.
Right. So
Trouble's brewing.
Loving his job and that, but it's quite a lonely sort of job because you don't see many people. You're just dealing with animals all the time, right? So anyway, he gets a bit pally with a monkey because it's the closest thing to a human.
Well, that ape is.
Right.
Yeah, but you can't really go that close to apes.
Well,
They're dangerous.
what do you mean? What type was it? Do you
Just
mean it was
let
a
him tell the
Was it
story.
a chimpanzee?
I reckon it was a chimp. Yeah. Yeah, it
Oh,
was
you
a
don't
chimp.
even know.
It
So
was
it's
a
an
chimp.
ape.
It was a
Okay.
chimp. Yeah, but it doesn't matter, does
So
it?
he
It's a
gets
story.
pally with him.
Right, so he gets pally with
What,
him.
do they
and
go on
he's-
holiday together?
Well, no, I mean, it starts
On the
off
pool together.
starts off just checking each other out and, you know, probably sharing lunch and that together.
Yeah.
Right? Anyway, this goes on for a while. Is, you know, they're getting on well on that. And then after a while, right, the monkey starts sort of imitating him a bit more and sort of walking upright,
Oh God.
Yeah.
right? So he thinks, oh, that's a bit weird. Anyway, they get on really better and what have you. So he thinks he could live at home with me, this,
Yes.
because we're getting on the storm,
Yeah.
right? So he takes him home, and before
Is
you
this
know
the
it,
beginning of Beneath the Planet of the Apes? I think it is. I think you've seen this on video.
I'm worried, because he's already imitating him and they're moving in together. I'm thinking it's maybe a bit like Single White Female. Single White Zookeeper.
Oh, brilliant.
right? So
Go on.
anyway, so it's moving in, and it's getting used to sort of the normal human life. It's having a cup of tea in the morning.
Yeah. PG tips.
As he finishes the day off with
Oh dear.
Finishes the day off with what?
It
With
does,
a
it doesn't
little
have to
brandy.
move a piano at one point,
He
does he?
finishes the day off with a little brandy.
Yeah.
What, he pours himself. Is he wearing a smoking jacket?
I'll tell you what, Carl. You're a maniac,
listen,
mate.
no, this is why it attracted me. It's amazing, right? So he's having his brandy and that, loving his life. Next thing you know, he sort of, I don't know if he loses it or he gets shaved, but the top half of his body is
Becomes
hairless, right? Apart from his head, right? So he's got a
Right.
nice.
So it's the opposite of the kid.
Well, no,
Yeah.
This is what
well,
I'm saying,
that would happen.
right?
Well, hang on, but so you don't know if
You
he
don't
was
even
shaved
know.
or if it's
How
hair?
did it say? Then the hairless. What?
I'll bring it in for you, the story, and then you
Alright,
can
well,
see if
okay,
I've gone wrong.
keep going.
So anyway, so
Wow.
so this is going on, and he's having a great life. Then the zookeeper starts getting a bit annoyed because he's having a better life than the zookeeper. The zookeeper's in the zoo.
This is such
So the
rubbish.
zookeeper's still got to do a day's work. The monkey's at home, he's partying.
well,
he's
it
got
gets
his
to a
other
point when he
chipmates
says
round.
there's no point you coming in to the zoo because the whole reason of you being there was because you're being kept there.
Right.
And he didn't want to bring the memories back, so he said, you stay at home. So
You are you're talking such.
Just let him finish.
God, I don't know if I can sit here and listen to this drivel.
Let me. I'm fascinated.
it's
It
nearly
sounds
over anyway,
amazing.
right?
It sounds extraordinary. Carl.
So he's walking up right, he's having a tea in the morning, finishing the day off with brandy. Gets a bit out of hand, only tries it on with the zookeeper's wife.
Make him go away, Steve.
How does he do that?
Well, because he's around humans a lot, he becomes a bit of a charmer. And,
But what is it that he could do to seduce her? Pick fleas out of her?
he didn't say.
He's
but-
built. He was built.
Yeah, it's well known.
So what about
What do you mean, what about it, Carl? It's obviously not true. It's obviously not true.
that? This wasn't on the internet, this was in a book, so it's not a quick joke and just, put it on a website. This is in a book.
I don't understand how the
I
monkey...
love that he becomes a charmer. He's got better taste in brandy.
Exactly.
And he, that
What
is-
was it that he was doing that seduced her?
I don't know, maybe because he was at home more than the zookeeper was.
But what would he be doing,
I love
Carl?
the fact that-
He's not going to be talking with her. They're not going to be playing, like, Trivial Pursuit.
Maybe she liked the silent type. It didn't go into that, it just said that's when the trouble started. I honestly don't think it was related.
Right.
Because I've since seen the same problem again on another kid with a big head. His hands look good.
Right, so you think the big head is just a separate issue?
Yeah, it's a totally different illness. It's like having a headache and a cold at the same time.
Right,
It's,
so
you know.
not always connected.
But the weird thing is, right, looking around in the week at weird stuff on the internet, there's this woman who's got a big head,
Oh, yeah.
and she was fed up with it because when she was walking down the street, it was so big she couldn't hold it up.
Right.
Right?
She couldn't hold it up.
Oh God! Oh God!
Okay, shut up.
So
She
when
couldn't hold it up.
when she was walking, her eyes were hurting because she had to sort of look up all the time because her head was that heavy. Her chin was sort of balanced on her chest.
Right, and she'd have to peek up, yeah.
So she goes to the doctors, and this was after years and years, and said, I thought I could put up with it, but I can't. It's hurting
How
my
big
eyes.
was her head?
It's
I
big,
think
Rick.
I don't know if it was like big because there wasn't a picture. I don't know if it was just big or a lot of bone. so it was heavy.
Very heavy.
Right, like the Elephant Man, just
So
outcrops.
right. So so the doctor said, we can sort that out. But we'll have to take your head off.
Right.
Okay,
listen
keep
to
going.
this.
Okay,
Listen,
keep going.
Because what you don't seem to understand is I have the same reaction to you when I see it.
Yeah.
What?
Right?
You're quizzical yourself.
So I looked at it, they took her head off, chipped away a bit of the bone, made her head lighter, put it back on.
If Tony Blair came to you and he went, Carl, listen, I'm having a bit of trouble here. I don't know what to do. I've tried everything. I've tried spin, I've tried being tough, I've tried backing down, I've tried getting other countries involved, they don't want to know. What do I do? What do I do? You don't know?
Tricky one. I don't
It's a tricky one, it's a tricky one, yeah.
I don't worry about it. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen, innit?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just get in the bath, put a mattress on top of you. That's it.
Sorry, why are you doing that?
Ooh, slow down.
Why are you doing that?
That's what they say you do, innit? If it kicks off.
If what kicks off?
If there's a war and that, you get in the bath, put a mattress on top.
Right. Did they do that in the Second World War for 6 years?
Was that making bunk beds?
That's just what I read somewhere.
Yeah.
Is the bath full of water?
No.
No.
That'd be daft.
Okay.
But I think they're enamel baths then though. I think they'd stop a bit of shrapnel. I think the plastic ones you get nowadays would probably melt on you. And the mattress, where your dad has cut it in half, all the foam would come out and the springs would get you in the eye.
Oh, talking about me dad. Steve, you'll love this, right?
Go on.
My dad hates being ripped off, right?
Yes. Well, no, I can relate to that. That's important.
Hates coming to London now. He always wants me to go and see them rather than come here, because he just thinks London is like a big rip-off. Last time he came, he got annoyed because I bought him a scone and a cup of tea for like 3 of us, and it was £14, and he just was livid. And then we had an argument about that, and then we went to the Millennium Wheel, and I said, do you fancy going on this? He said, oh, alright. And then he saw the price, and it was something like 20 quid or something. And he said, 20 quid to go up in the air to look at stuff that's on the ground. He said, I might as well stay on the ground.
Brilliant.
Right? Thought, good point.
His logic is impeccable.
So anyway, this is going on. Anyway, he spoke to me the other day. I said, how are things? Are they alright? And that? He said, oh, being ripped off. I said, why? He said he ordered, do you know the place where he got a new bed from because he cut the other one in half, right? He got this bed out of a catalogue. So he sorted out a payment on the phone. He said, look, you're ripping me off a bit here on the interest thing, but well, let's do a deal. We'll sort out a new monthly payment that's different to what it says in the catalogue. And he said, yeah, we'll go along with that. Anyway, so he sorted that out. He was happy. The bed arrived. It's a nice bed. He said, that's great. So anyway, he got the bill for it, and it was the original price.
Oh, I thought it might be the case, yeah.
Right. So he called up and said, I'm not happy with this. He said, we said a deal. And like, oh, no, don't know what you're talking about. He said, right, don't send me your catalogues anymore. He said, I'm not buying anything from you. You're a rip-off merchant. Right? So anyway, few weeks go by. Post comes. Only another catalogue in the post.
He's livid.
Right, so he was well annoyed.
Yeah. So
he looked on the back, and it said on it, this catalogue will always be property of, the company that does it. So you can't throw it away. If we request to have it back, we've got the permission to get it back off you. Right? So he thought, right, well, they're out of order. I told them not to send me one, and they have done, and they're saying I can't chuck it away. So he called them up and said, alright, Mr. Pilkington here, bought a bed off you, you conned me, and that. But, forget that. We've dealt with that. You've sent me a catalogue, I told you not to. It says on the back here that this will always be yours. Yeah? So, in a way, you're using my house as a warehouse. I'll be charging you 26 pence or something a day.
Brilliant.
He said, you already owe me £6.28. Something like that.
Genius.
And, he sorted it out. So again, it's just...
So hang on, but are they going along with this?
I don't know what happened. He said they sounded annoyed and said they'd get back to him, and they haven't. But he said, I'm not bothered. They can take as long as they want because the money just keeps going up.
Yeah. So what sort of profit has he made so far?
Well, when I spoke to him in the week, it was like £6 odd. Yeah. I think that was on Tuesday. So he's just leaving it. It's like an investment.
Yeah. It's like an antique. He's bought.
It's just going up every day. So.
Well, keep us posted on that. That's dynamite. One day we need to speak to your father.
Yeah, I think so.
So many questions need to be asked of him.
But I might sit and give you a letter to take home.
Yeah.
Dear Mr. Pilkington, your son Carl.
And I know about Valences, as I told you last week. At the very end, me auntie loves them.
Yeah.
Right. She makes them. She started off just like putting them on top of the sort of window around the curtain. And then she thought, oh, I can do more with this. And she had a little coffee table that had magazines underneath, and she said, I'm sick of seeing them magazines when I'm sat down.
She sounds like a Pilkington. So
I'm sick of seeing them magazines when I sit down.
So she put a valance round the table.
She just got valances around everything now.
Yeah. Then, next step, she tapes everything. She never actually watches telly, she tapes it all. Because she gets sick of listening to the adverts and that.
Yeah.
So she tapes everything. So she's got loads of videotapes and that. And the video used to get on her nerves. When she was watching a film, she'd see the clock changing.
Oh.
And it distracted her from the film, so she put a valance round that.
That's genius!
Yeah.
So,
That is really...
or is it mental? Only Mrs. Einstein can tell
I
us.
don't know. She's even made her little, Jack Russell look like a hovercraft.
Yeah.
It's great.
So everything's got a balance.
If you go round and you stand still for too long, the chances are
She'll put a
balance around your head.
Yeah.
This is this is Auntie Who?
Auntie Nora.
And this is the one that farted for 5 minutes.
She did.
Lest our listeners forget.
Lest we
farted
forget.
for 5 minutes, called his mum, saying I'm farting. 2 minutes into the fart.
She said about 2.5 minutes in.
Yeah. God.
She said I'm about 2.5 minutes into
Well,
the
my
fart.
mum said, how long's it been going on for? She said, well, it was about 2.5 minutes before I called you.
Yeah.
And then it went on for a further 2.5 minutes or something. And, then it stopped. And,
She couldn't type right because there was a balance over the clock.
Yeah, she
Because it used to
couldn't
annoy
type
her when
it,
she was
yeah.
on the phone and you put her off seeing
So
the time.
she was
guessing it was 5 minutes.
This was one consistent fart.
yeah. I mean, it wasn't making a noise, it was just...
Oh, it wasn't making a noise.
Just gas.
Right, endless gas.
So, there you
That's
go.
fantastic. Well, we started off with a new one, a little bit of Foo Fighters. We like new and old on this show, don't
Indeed,
we?
we like to mix it up.
I'd like to play to the Smiths from their debut album, I Don't Owe You Anything. I Don't Owe You Anything. The lads from Karl's hometown there.
Indeed.
The Smiths. Brilliant, that one. Wow, I went to Manchester, didn't I, the other day? Went up to Manchester for a
What did
little
you make of
corporate. It was alright.
Yeah.
He went, wait till you get out, you see Piccadilly, it's better than Euston.
Right.
It was, you know, it was nicer. I went outside and there was a ridiculous queue, and sort of one cab.
Right, yeah.
So,
Horse-drawn.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I walked and it was okay, it was only down the road, it was a bit dark. It was wet and raining.
Obviously,
course.
it's the north.
I know, yeah. The hotel was very nice, but no minibar. I've never seen that before. I've travelled all over the world to see them in a hotel without a minibar.
No,
So I
I've
don't know
never
what's
heard
going on then. I don't know what's going on there. And then I did this corporate gig in Old Trafford. The pitch was up, don't know what they were doing, but, you know, very impressive. Big impressive. I think they're the richest football club, aren't they? Carl?
Yeah.
You did a gig at where?
Old Trafford. It was in a function room there.
Oh, well, I
for
thought it
a-
was the stadium.
No, I'm
Incredible.
not that big yet. No. But I mean, you know, I can't really comment on Manchester. I do know that Liverpool was voted most important music city via poll.
True enough.
Carl, you're making noises while I'm talking.
Yeah, but you do this all the time trying to wind me up. And I'm not saying Manchester's the best place in the world, but what I'm saying is, there's bits of it that I really miss.
Yeah.
Like last Sunday, right? When I'd met up with Ricky, we had spaghetti bolognese, which was alright. And then I said to him, I need some soil.
Damn, I wish you'd invited me. It sounds amazing.
So I need some soil. What do you think?
You need some what? Soil?
Soil, yeah.
I need to repot a plant, right?
Yeah.
So,
You need to repot a plant?
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
So, I'm like, where, you can't see these shops in London.
You
Do you
can't
know what I mean?
buy
There's nothing around.
I took him straight to one in my street.
Yeah, but near your street, and that's probably the only one in London.
Well, you say that, Carl.
No, it does annoy me. Round my way, it's like, you know...
You can't move for soil shops.
You can't- There's earth, you can just pick up handfuls walking down the street.
Yeah, incredible.
Which
People
is-
just lean over into someone's front garden.
No,
You
yeah.
can take the plants as
Yeah.
well.
No,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is,
Go on.
Manchester, there's loads of decent hardware shops.
Yeah.
Here, you know, if you want a panini and a latte or whatever, you can't move for 'em. But for soil, I had to go virtually how many miles away from me to carry that soil home and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not I mean, London's alright, but if cities were sort of marked...
It's neglecting the peat market,
Yeah.
really,
Well,
isn't
there's
it?
barely, I mean, there's barely any mulch available Rick, in central London.
I'm sick and tired of not getting a good decent compost of a Sunday.
Indeed.
So,
It sickens
you know,
me.
I'm thinking of moving to the north,
Yeah.
where there is loads of soil and gravel.
Indeed.
And animal shite.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry, you were going to say if you were marking cities out of 10, what would you give London?
Well, if you were marking them on, like, you know, on what they have.
Right.
as opposed to what?
Well, as opposed to...
How
The
you
name.
spell it.
Say, like, I think the greatest city in the world is Rome. Right,
Okay.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Have you been?
What, yeah, why do you think that, though?
Just because, like, you turn a corner and there's something there that's really old. Right?
Right.
Like, you're going down normal street.
Go and stay in a Derby and Joan club.
Yeah.
No, but it's like you're going down the road and then you turn a corner and like the Colosseum's in the middle of a busy road. It's like, what's that doing there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just when you think there's no more, you turn another corner.
It's almost as if that was there first.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? London,
Yeah.
what have we got? You know, Trafalgar Square's world known. And you go there, what's there?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, there's a lot of space there. Get one big B&Q
In Trafalgar Square.
to cater for the whole of people who live sort of central Londonish.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'd be happy, but what I'm saying
What, with
is...
Nelson just popping up through the middle? Because you can still see it, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
B&Q, so B&Q could be like the whole sort of flat thing and make it sort of grey so it looked like rock, and then Nelson popping
Make it
up.
classy is what you're saying.
Yeah. Stone clad it.
Yeah.
So it looks like you've made an effort.
Exactly.
And then you can pop in, and then you can go out and go, oh look, Nelson's column. Oh look at that, isn't Nelson, oh look at that, the victory, defeat, that's fantastic, one of the greatest living.
Yeah.
I need some nails.
Yeah. Perfect. Killing two birds with one stone, you're saying?
But why isn't there more than them shops? Because when I went into yours, every time I've been in there twice now. The first time was to get a shower head, right?
Right.
And I went in there, couldn't resist buying something else. I ended up getting some super glue as well.
Blimey. Hey, big spender.
And then last Sunday we went in there, got 2 bags of soil, not one, I bought 2,
Yeah.
and I bought some scissors to cut plants with.
Secateurs.
Well, you don't.
Scissors.
You never know when you want. You know, you might need more soil, I suppose.
Well, I've got
You've
2.
stocked out now. Where'd you keep it under your bed?
Sorry, this isn't going out, is it, this conversation? It's not going out on air.
I got a feeling it might be.
You're joking. Okay, tell the story. Why is that the only school picture you had taken?
Just because, no, I had them all, I was always had them taken, right? But my dad thought they were overpriced for what you get. Because really, he said that the whole idea of a good picture is like, not only the person that's in it, but like the surroundings.
Yeah.
So like, if you're on holiday, he'll look at me and he'll go, oh yeah, you're looking well there. What's that hill in the background? Or something like that. Whereas with
That's
that,
Rick Waller, catching up.
Yeah.
but all you get on these school pictures is like a blue background, innit? So he was like, I'm not paying for that.
Sure.
And it was a big one. You get a bigger one than that, but that's just like a little passport size, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was £1.60. and he wasn't really happy paying that, because he said you could get like some done from True Print for a lot cheaper.
That he could take himself.
Yeah.
So
And so did he tell you at the time that was the last time he was paying for a school
He
picture?
said, I'll get you one, because it's good to have a picture of you at school.
Yeah.
Because they hardly ever went and all that. So he said, like...
What's that in the background? That's my school dad. Oh, I didn't...
I don't recognise it. You got any interesting stories about it? Not really.
So, I was a good-looking kid there, wasn't I?
What are you doing with your mouth, though, Carl? It looks like you're it looks like a bit like you're a ventriloquist dummy.
What do you mean?
Well, it looks like you sort of scrunching your mouth up, or pursing your lips, or something. Do you not think?
Oh.
I mean, now you've got, dare I say it, very kissable lips. So in here, look how thin they are. Look at those little thin lips. It's like you.
I'm smiling.
That's a smile?
Oh, that's what I didn't recognise that
No, I
either.
didn't realise that was a
Oh,
smile.
it's a
I never
smile. Is that what you look like when you smile?
Oh.
Oh.
And what's happening with the head?
Has your
Obviously-
dad seen you smile before then?
Well, I think that's why he wanted to buy one as well. That's like, so he can remember what it was like.
Right.
'Cause I don't smile.
When did you stop smiling? When was the last time you had fun and you just like happy-go-lucky? When can you remember when you had no weight of the world on your shoulders?
I often think that. Because I don't sleep like I did, like when I was a kid. I had really good sleeps, and now I don't.
Right.
So, I think...
But you've got a lot of things on your mind, you know, where can I buy soil?
Yeah, how can I confuse a computer by tapping in Y in the search engine?
Yeah.
Probably when I was 14, I was stress-free.
Where?
Yeah.
When was the paper round?
Probably when I was 15.
Right. That's when it started, was it?
I reckon. That's when I started getting stressed.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the haircut you've got in the, because obviously I've not seen you before with hair, and it's an interesting mop. Do you have that done at a barber's?
No, my mum used to do it.
Yeah, she cut that?
Age, yeah.
Right,
She used to, what she used to do, you can't see it in that picture, but there was one where she did, bit of a mess of it. I mean, it looks quite...
I can't tell from this picture.
No, but that's one of the better ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right. Were you bullied much?
on one of them, she used to like use a better newspaper in front of my eyes, so she didn't like stick these scissors in my eyes.
So newspaper stops scissors every time.
Yeah, because I think they use that for bulletproof vests.
Yeah, the tough fabric of a reconstituted newspaper will stop the scissor any time.
No, definitely. I remember, because I know a lot of UN guys, when they're on patrol, they use some old copies of The Sun.
They put it in their pocket.
Yeah, the Daily Star.
Sorry, yeah, okay, yeah.
So, she used to always be on a Sunday night when, like, Songs of Praise is on or something, nothing was on the telly, just before Last of the Summer Wine or something. And she used to get the,
What a depressing time that was.
It was.
Having your hair cut and listening to Songs of Praise, waiting for Last Summer Wine.
Yeah.
I always used to get depressed on Sunday nights.
Well, I'll tell you
and it wasn't because school was the next morning, it was because the telly was so shite.
I think it was because school was next morning, because Antiques Roadshow still does that for me. I see the Antiques Roadshow, I love it, but I'm just thinking I've got to go to school or work tomorrow.
Yeah.
The Roadshow, I wish they put it on the week.
But I know, I've never really had that. When I worked, I suppose. I work now, don't I? No. Oh, what giveaway. What giveaway.
Sorry, you were telling us a story about...
So anyway, she'd get the newspaper, right, and she'd stick it in front of my eyes, and,
what does that say? Go on.
So she'd
You inherited a lot from your mum, didn't you?
So she'd cut me fringe, right?
Yeah.
But then she'd go, oh, it's not straight, it's not very good. So she'd go again, and she'd keep going, and the problem
is that why you're bald now?
I was to say, is this that you have got hair, but she has to get it right.
Yeah.
It takes her to the back of your neck to get it even.
She sort of removed the newspaper, and she was like, oh God. And I said, what? She goes, oh, I'm sorry. And like...
What, did this happen every Sunday?
Can I ask you, Carl, when she was cutting your hair in this picture, do you think she was maybe sidetracked by an interesting article in the paper, and really wasn't paying attention to what she was doing?
Or did her favourite hymn come on?
Yeah,
and she started
or Compo was rolling down the hill.
In a bath.
So yeah, I ended up with, like, you know, a fringe sort of on the back of my head, because she just kept going further and further.
Sure.
But,
when did you start going to that barber that was on the railway station?
That's when I started work, so, you know, sort of 16, 17.
And is he the one that said you have the hair of a Chinaman?
He's the one yeah.
He sounds like a wise man.
Well, can I just stop? I think maybe we should play a tune, but maybe you could bring in some photos next week, Rick, and we can talk about them on the radio.
Yeah. Carl, why are you grumpy?
I told you before, I'm just a little bit tired today.
Because he had to get up, the builders next door woke him up.
No.
He's always going about his hours. Those builders probably got up at 6.
Yeah, but I can understand builders who get up early because they're building outside and they've got to get the job done before it gets dark, but he's working in someone's lounge. If it gets dark, put the light on. It's not a problem. So why is he starting work at like 7 o'clock in the morning?
Well, because builders get paid by the day. And if you get a builder and go, I'll just do 11 till 3, he's not going to go, I tell you what, love, just give me 40 quid. I didn't do a whole day. It's a day's work, isn't it? So you want to get the most out of them, don't you?
Plus, he probably wants to finish early so he can have a good night out.
Yeah, it's a Saturday night, you know what I mean? He wants to...
Yeah, he wants to get at least 15 pints in.
And he was cheery, I bet he was whistling and, you know, dancing around and tapping, you know, so I don't know how you can be annoyed at that. Why don't you get earplugs?
I don't like it, the idea of earplugs.
Why?
Because I live in a flat, so it's not as if I'm looking after my house, right?
Already, I've lost you.
No.
That wasn't even a whole sentence, and I don't know what you're talking about.
No, but what I mean is...
What?
If you live in a house, right, you know that you've turned the lights off downstairs, you know you haven't got a frying pan on, right?
Right, okay,
so,
not really.
Keep him going.
But I live in a flat, and I don't know what the other people are like. There might be some daft people in there who
God,
don't...
imagine that.
Right, who don't turn stuff off. Now, if I have earplugs and the fire alarm's going off, I'm not going to hear it. I'm going to have a good sleep, but who knows what could happen? So I don't like earplugs. It's not safe.
Okay.
If you live in a block of flats.
But I think you'll find, because I've used them, I think you'll find that a fire alarm will cut through
I wear them sometimes if it's noisy or I want to go to bed early or something, and I hear my alarm clock, and it goes beep 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 beep. It's that loud.
Okay, well...
And a fire alarm is deafening.
Alright, so we've talked in the past about snails who sleep for 13 years.
No, you have. That's never been confirmed. In fact, the expert hadn't heard of it.
Well, they do.
Okay.
I read it on different sites.
Okay.
So how much does it take to wake them up? Got you?
What do you mean?
Well, they sleep for 13 years.
Yeah, but it's probably... But I don't know what you mean by sleep. It's not the same sort of pattern that we have in a mollusk, is it? There's different... What is sleep? It's
when you're sort of shut down, and...
But they can estivate. They can actually literally shut down.
No, but they didn't say that. They said they sleep for 13 years. And I mean... Have you ever had, like, more than 10 hours sleep?
Yeah.
Feel really groggy?
Well, no, I feel good after 10 hours sleep.
I feel rough. I just was thinking what a snail would be like. They're like, oh.
Be even slower than normal.
Be even slower than you. I do want to trial this new film quiz we've got, because it's. I mean, I'm excited. I think it's the best competition we've come up with, to be quite honest. I mean, Carl, you agree, don't you?
It's alright, yeah.
Yeah. It's a film-based quiz.
Right.
We'll play you a clip from a classic film. I can tell you the film we're going to play. It's The Sixth Sense.
Right.
And there'll be a question afterwards, and you can win The Sixth Sense.
On DVD?
Yeah. Not the ability to sort of tell when someone's behind you, but just the film. You know. Do you believe in sort of like extrasensory sort of perception and stuff, Carl?
Ghosts and that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course you do.
Not ghosts, no, the fact that people maybe can sense, you know, beings.
There was a woman in on the Christian's breakfast show, right?
Yeah.
Blind woman.
Right.
Clairvoyant.
Is that her name?
Forgot. But she was a bit useless.
She was a bit useless.
I'm always worried about what's going to come out of
I'm
Carl's
worried
mouth.
what you mean. What?
Do you know what I mean?
She's a bit rubbish at being a clairvoyant.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think if you're not that good at something, don't go on the radio and do it.
Carl, you better leave.
So, what, sorry.
Well, she was saying,
So
like,
what was the relevance of her being, blind? What was that for? What did you say?
I just thought it was a bit weird. I think she was using that because the fact that she can't see living people, but she can contact the dead ones.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, this is XFM 104.9. Once again, Carl's opinions do not necessarily reflect anyone.
Those of any human being.
Any other person alive today.
Sorry, Carl, so how did she demonstrate her clairvoyance, and why was it not very convincing?
She was sat in the chair you're at, right? And people called up and said...
I sensed that.
Weird.
Said, they called up and they said, right, can you, have a word with me gran?
Yeah.
And, she goes, yeah, she's dead, isn't she? And it's like, yeah. He goes, ooh, and everyone's like, ooh, she knows her stuff.
It was 50-50 to be fair.
Yeah, and especially with a gran, because the person sounded about 35, so the chances are...
Yeah.
They haven't got a gran anymore.
Yeah.
And it was just...
Unless it's the fellas from Busted, because they, in the year 3000, it's only, they've only got to a great-great-granddaughter, and that's 1,000 years, so, presumably, you know, they can live a lot longer.
Yeah. I just wasn't convinced anyway. I don't want to diss her, because, you know, she came in, and she did her stuff, and if people believe in it, I'm not going to put it down, but it just was a little bit off.
You believe in it! You just think she didn't have the real power, as opposed to it being rubbish.
No, whatever. But yeah, I don't know what we were talking about there. So we've got the film thing going on.
I don't know what we were talking about.
Film.
What were you talking about earlier about glasses as well, and Steve taking his glasses off? What was that?
What are you saying that in front of him now for?
Was it an insult?
It wasn't really an insult.
Carl, what were you up to?
No, what was it? I genuinely don't remember. I genuinely don't remember.
Right, Steve, I'm not having a go. Right? Just saying how people, it's a bit weird that you've got glasses because you've got a good pair of eyes on you. Right? That isn't an insult.
What were you talking about though? What was it? Why did
it was the fact that people who wear glasses always look a bit weird without them on. It's like, you know, they should wear glasses.
Okay. Why did we get round to this? What was we talking about? What were we talking about?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what that was. I went out with Ricky, like he said, right, for a drink in the week. And, you know, I went home, and Suzanne, my girlfriend, said, where have you been? I said, I've been out for a drink with Ricky. Hey, you've been out for a while, what have you been talking about? I sort of sat there for a minute and thought, there's nothing that I can tell her we've been talking about that she'll show any interest in. She said, well, you must remember something. I said, I can't. She goes, no, something, just anything that you were talking about. What are you talking about? I said, right, the one I remember, one of the topics that came up was, imagine that the only way to have a kid was you had to sleep with a squid. How many kids would you have?
I was saying it was the future and the squid's taking over, but the only way they could do it now is like a filter. You had to sleep with a squid. I was going, would you? He was going, what do you mean? I was going, would you? He said, there's not a time he hasn't gone home with a conversation, buzzing in his head that he got confused about.
Would anyone want a kid that much?
Does the child look like a squid when you have it, or is it
No, it's not.
kid?
I was going, no, it's normal, but it's like a filter with a system. The only way you can do it to make sure, you know, you have to impregnate the squid, and it's filter, and then you can, test tube wave in the future.
Did the busted lads mention that in the song?
We live underwater, that's where I got it from. I said, well, you probably sort of like get quite friendly with them eventually. You probably would be breeding with the squids and,
So what does
prawns.
Suzanne make of Gervais? Has she met him a few times?
Yeah, she just said, she can understand why we sort of get on, because we both sort of come up with daft stuff all the time, and...
Yeah.
But I'm quite happy to have a discussion.
I love the way that it talks about his partner like the adult.
Well,
we're the two kids that go out playing, talking about squids.
That is exactly how I see Suzanne. It's like, if she wasn't there, I don't think you'd get out of the house in the morning.
Well,
you'd have tied your shoelaces together.
Yeah, you'd have your earplugs
You'd have forgotten to put your trousers on.
The fire alarm would be going off, and, someone would have left a frying pan on, the builders would be sort of like throwing you round.
Yeah, I imagine she makes you like a round of sandwiches.
Well, she's noticed that I don't ask as many questions now. Because, like, last night was one of the first times in ages that I'd asked her something, right?
What did you ask?
Where's the bathroom?
No, right, do you know, like, I'm always thinking stuff when I'm bored, right? if it's when I'm washing up or what have you.
Yeah.
And, last night, she was watching, that Midsummer
Murders,
Midsummer Murders, right? I don't like it, I think it's rubbish, right? So,
another thing you've got in common, then.
No, but, do you know what I mean? But I'll let her watch it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? She really likes it.
He was standing, he's watching the microwave, she was going, Carl, no,
exactly.
This is the telly. This is the telly.
Wait a minute, this chicken's gonna come
I've seen this before, it comes round again in a minute. Carl, what's the washing machine, Carl?
So she's watching it, loving it and that, and I'm bored, because it's just, it's a boring programme. So I'm sort of looking through magazines that we've got.
Trying to find animals without heads.
And, it was in one of her magazines, and there's this article, right, about these identical twins, brothers, right, and one of them meets this girl, right, and it turns out she's got an identical...
I've heard this is true.
Right.
They get married.
She's got an identical sister.
Right. So, they both go out.
So two identical twins, male, going out with two identical twin sisters. Yeah.
So I was looking at it going, oh, that's weird, because you see them, like, they're always wearing the same cardigans and that, and that's like...
But then, but if you're an identical twin, then you probably would fancy the same sort of person, wouldn't you?
But then, I was asking, she was going, it's getting near the, the plot, the murderer. If they had a kid, would they look the same?
Yeah. Well, not necessarily, because it depends on what genes are passed over. Even though they've got the same exact sets of genes, that you don't pass on all the genes, do you? It's 50-50, but you don't pass on exactly the same genes in each sperm, let alone with an identical twin.
Yeah, but even though you don't do that, like, my brother and sister don't look like me, but you know they were related. Because
they share 50% of your father's genes.
Gobbledygook.
Yeah. No, you share 50% of your father's genes and 50% of your mother's, but not the same 50% on two occasions.
I think you completely lost it. When you brought in the word genes, I thought you were thinking, what
no, they wouldn't necessarily. They wouldn't necessarily, no. They could do by
Did Suzanne look at you like Oliver Hardy looks at Stan Laurel when he's just, like, nailed his hand to a wall or something?
She went, ask Ricky tomorrow.
And then turned up John Nettles.
And then turned it up.
Yeah.
Oh, that is brilliant. I think there's I heard a story once where two, sets of Siamese twins married. What if you fancied the one on the left?
Yeah. What if one of them was having an affair behind the other one's back? That'd be difficult to conduct, wouldn't it? You better show off he's waking up.
What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing down there? What are you doing down there?
Nothing, there's no one down here.
Well, I think there is, because I can see her sister here.
No.
What's she doing? What's she doing?
No,
she's covering for her. What are you covering for him for? He's your husband. Is my wife down there?
I read something about some Siamese twins.
Go on.
And, one of them was saying, we get on each other's nerves and that.
The other one was going, we don't.
I didn't know this.
I've never liked you. I've never liked you.
One of them was going, I hate doing the washing up, but I'll let her do it. And, the person doing the interview said, well, why don't you help out? Just dry up and get the job done quicker. And she was like, no, I can't stand it. I prefer just to hang around there and wait for the other girl to do the washing up on her own rather than help and get the job done.
Sure.
Just selfish.
Well, there was one set of Siamese twins. One had a job and the other one didn't.
That's ludicrous.
Yeah. The other one was unemployed. The other one had a job. She had to go to work. She had to get up at 6 o'clock on her day
I'm
off.
supporting you, literally.
Yeah.
Then they get done off the social for sort of...
Yeah, because the other one was signing on.
Are you living together? We're not.